Hi everyone, Tony from Hack the Movies here, and today's video is a little different. I probably wasn't going to do this video, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about. It's not what I usually do. Other than Siphon Filter and Friends and a couple Joker fan videos, I don't think I have a thing that I usually do. But yeah, so I thought this was interesting. Yesterday, Jimmy Fallon did some stupid song called Teachers Deserve $1 Million. What is it? Teachers should make $1 billion because it's what they deserve for Teacher Appreciation Week. Okay, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I've heard this before. This happens a lot, actually. Whenever people complain about NFL players getting paid too much, they're like, what about the teachers? What about the teachers? And it got me thinking of like teachers that I've had who were kind of terrible, kind of just awful human beings. And to quote one of the greatest teachers that's out there now, Jesse Lee Peterson, not all, but most. Not all teachers, obviously. I had some really great teachers. But a lot of the teachers I had, looking back at my childhood, I realized a lot of the teachers I had were most likely bitter divorced women who really should not have been teaching young boys, which was made clear by everything that happened in school. Anyway, I posted a really good example. This one wasn't a female teacher. This is a male teacher that I had a huge problem with. I retweeted the story. I didn't listen to the song because why would anyone listen to that song? Why would anyone listen to Jimmy Fallon? I know they do. To be fair, a lot of Jimmy Fallon stuff, like whatever show he's on, what is it, the Late Show, Tonight Show? I feel like it's just on at bars and places because it's on network TV. He's always on in like taxi cabs and stuff. I doubt anyone is really watching Jimmy Fallon. I doubt there's a lot of Jimmy Fallon fans. Anyway, I retweet it. I once had a teacher try to fail me because he was upset his wife died and needed to take his anger out on someone. It got so bad, he also tried to fail my sister because she was related to me. That is 100% true. I forget the name of him. He was always a jerk. But once his wife died, he went a little nuts. And he was very old and probably not mentally fit to be teaching high school kids. And for whatever reason, he directed all his anger on me. To the point where, like, if I made him mad during the day, at the end of the day, the next day in the morning, he would take it out on my sister. She was a couple years below me. She was like 2 years below me, but since it was high school, like we were both taking the class at the same time. So he would take it out on both of us. It got so bad. I straight up told him, I was like, dude, I don't care that your wife died. You got to stop doing this to me for no reason. He was not happy with that, obviously. Basically, I was the one who ended up going to the principal. And it was one of those things where everyone knew he was a little like messed up, but I guess everyone was afraid to tell him to stay home for a bit. So she was like, just during class for the next few weeks, just stay in my room, just come to the principal's office. It wasn't even in trouble. It was just, she was tired of this guy going nuts that she made me stay in her office. Anyway, that was the full story. It was a little quicker there. Just a horrible person. And I know his wife died and that's sad, but he was a jerk way before that. Like, he was very old, and I was hearing stories from, like, older kids that he was always really bad. And that just set off something in his brain. I think he's dead now, hopefully. Anyway, post a story about a teacher you know who shouldn't have $1 billion. I thought this was a funny thing. And I usually don't do videos about tweets, because why would you? But the stories are still coming in. There is some awful stuff I saw here. Okay, we're just going to go through them. I attended inner city public schools in Chicago, which employed some of the most useless, laziest, self-esteem destroying sacks of ever allowed to educate children. That sounds pretty bad. Yeah, there were some teachers that really like. Before I go into other ones, there was this one teacher that was furious that I was talking to other kids about rated R movies. Furious because I was like, I don't know, 10, 11. Screamed at me about how I shouldn't be watching those movies and they're evil and their guy went to Catholic school and they're bad and I shouldn't watch them and I'm just an overall bad person. Shouldn't watch those movies. For those of you who don't know me, part of my job these days is literally getting paid to talk about rated R movies. So thanks, Miss whatever your name was. Thanks for your advice, which was terrible. Here we go. Justin Silverman. My Algebra 2 teacher failed me for no reason that I know. I even went for extra credit / after school work. But the next year, I aced the course with another teacher. And he was eventually arrested for sexual assaulting the track girls he coached. So get him $1 billion? Yeah, that sounds pretty bad. I don't know why he didn't give you a reason. I mean, he clearly wasn't into you because the girl thing. Aaron Plays, my Algebra 2 teacher, was a raging too. I'm sorry. Aaron, this guy was assaulting girls. That's not raging. That's it's a little bit more than a raging bitch. This guy says, why not $2 billion to Justin? When I was in kindergarten, we were coloring a picture for Mother's Day, and I was coloring very vigorously, going outside the lines and using all sorts of different colors. I knew I wasn't doing a very good job, so when my teacher walked over and looked at my picture, I covered it up. She stood there for a few seconds, and then she said, and I'll never forget this because it was so unexpected, I would cover it up too if I were you. And then she walked off. That was her first year teaching at that school, and she was fired after that year. Gee, I wonder why. My math teacher in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade treated me like shit because I had trouble with math, so he used to make the classroom laugh at me. He got caught driving students home, but really, he was a pedo. Jesus Christ. Well, that guy doesn't deserve $1 billion. Let's see. Oh, Newt. Good friend, Newt. Let's see. I once blackmailed a teacher who did not like me. I did some research and found out he got busted for coke in the early 80s. He was much nicer to me after that. All right, look. You said he didn't like you. You didn't say something bad that he did. But you did blackmail. That seems, the coke was before that. What did he do bad to you that you could justify blackmail? That's pretty funny, though. And, of course, Tim Allen, because Tim Allen got busted for coke. Okay, this one starts off like a joke. Band teacher once threw a chair across the room, repeatedly yelled 1 inch away from me, getting spit on my face. The multiple reasons, my beat was off tempo. And then they start posting the Whiplash, because that's what happens on Whiplash. But apparently, according to She Says Boundary Break, not even a reference. I related so much to this movie. I went to a Christian school with about 40 students. Whenever the guys would have problems, the principal would take them outside and let them beat the out of each other. Barbaric. That's from Jenna Jam. I responded I would have preferred that. I had so many arguments with guys who would bully me and stuff. And honestly, if the teachers were like, go outside and beat the shit out of each other until it's done, I would have preferred that. You're lucky there. My first grade teacher refused to call me by my name. My second grade teacher sent me to in-school detention for a week. I wasn't supposed to be there. No questions were asked. In high school, we had a teacher who bragged about drinking on the job. Why wouldn't she say your name? She said it wasn't a real name because he goes by Tab, which is an abbreviation. She said it wasn't a real name, would only use my legal name, which up until that point, I didn't know was my name. And then I got in trouble constantly for ignoring her. I kind of went through the same thing. I remember having to learn my name was really Antonio after being called Tony for years. I'm like, wait, I have another name? And they're like, yeah, your full name's Antonio. It's like, well, you never call me that. because the word cuck is in the name. Okay, well, he's not talking about his Twitter handle when he was 1. My producer, JP, had a substitute teacher insist that he was misspelling his own last name when he created a Mother's Day card as an assignment. When he handed it to his mom and she pointed it out, he started crying. The guy never shuts up about it, I guess, so it really impacted him. Why wouldn't the teacher probably has a list of names, right? Why would she just assume the guy's misspelling his own name? I don't get it. My teacher took my t-shirt off of me in class because it said Tommy Hellfighter on it. Christians are great at puns. I was shirtless throughout show and tell, where a girl in class was allowed to show off her dad's hookah. That's messed up. One of my childhood friends failed a test once, and our science teacher told her, and I quote, "You're lucky you're pretty and young because that's the only thing going for you for the rest of your life." Well, you're not going to be young for the rest of your life. She was 14 when this... She was 14 when this happened. And I wrote, "Imagine if you had $1 billion. Third grade teacher didn't like how energetic I was and said that I had ADHD. So doctors, without hardly giving me a look over, put me on Ritalin, which made me suicidal. Just because he was like an energetic kid. Mad Cucks again. Oh, in second grade, my teacher claimed I had ADD. They put me through this battery of testing. Turned out I just had a higher IQ than my teacher. She told us in the meeting. Go figure, a smart kid gets bored counting to 110 times every day. Yeah, he was pretty much the same for me because the next year I made honor roll. I was like, if they had $1 billion, I'm sure they would have been happier and not lied about you. Never have to deal with kids again. I guess there's a plus side to everything. In my junior year of high school, I had an English teacher who assigned us to write a paper on controversial subjects versus other controversial subjects, and to argue your side. I chose creationism versus evolution. That's a good one. I was team evolution. She gave me a D because she believed in creationism. Why does what she believed matter? It was just how well you argued your points. But I wrote, "You deserved a D. Evolution is a lie. My ancestor wasn't no monkey." I've had lots of good teachers. The only one that was very negative was my third grade teacher. I hadn't finished an assignment and she told me I wasn't allowed to go to lunch because of it. I have another, but I have to make another post about it. So, let's see. Senior year, first semester English, we had a woman who just refused to... Oh, I gotta make it bigger. Keep forgetting to make it bigger. Who just refused to teach. She told us all to write papers over the poems that inspired the play Cats. And then we had to watch the play Cats. This was 2016. She never told us what she wanted. She just told us to write. This led to everyone, even the best students, failing that paper and giving us all, for our first paper of the semester, a D or F. She ended up being fired after she left her projector on and wrote an email to another teacher calling all of us stupid. At that point, all grades were changed, and then we got a sub who had to make her own lesson plan. So we did Hamlet, watched Patrick Stewart movie, and had to write a paper with instructions on what we had to write. A's, B's, and C's across the board. Oh, good. God, Tony, don't murder teachers. Why? I didn't murder her. She was just very old. I was a shitty kid because of my tumultuous home life, and my third grade, a lot of third grade I'm seeing, teacher who also taught my younger brother was far harder on them than anyone else in the class. There have been few times I've seen my dad yell at someone in mine or my brother's favor. That's when you know my mom has screamed at a couple teachers. That is one of the most satisfying things where it's like, oh my God, I'm not the one who's wrong. And my parents are proving that I'm not the one that's wrong. When my youngest brother had her as a teacher and she kept pulling the same weird he basically took the day off work so he could pick us up and pitch out the teacher for making us hate school. That's funny. The toughest pill I had to swallow was to see the opinion they wanted you to have and pretend to agree with it. I learned this when I was marked of I was marked of when I argued that the reason someone wrote so much dialogue was because they wanted to get the word count up. I was right. Yeah, that's true. Authors at different points of time in different cultures were often paid by word, page, or work. If they were being paid by word or page, dialogue and adjectives would shoot up. If they were paid by work, it would shrink down. Yep. Most English teachers hold romanticized beliefs about literature and authors involved. They refuse to accept that the most influential passage they ever read was added because the publisher needed an even page count. But the yours still gets me. Where'd it go? I was staying after school to get some help with math in 7th grade. I was near my friend who was tossing an empty pop bottle into the air and catching it in the cafeteria. We both got yelled at by the Spanish teacher and forced to pick up her classroom floor. I hate when schools do this so much. I hate when schools would punish everyone for one or a few people's mistakes. This happened. Some asshole pulled the fire alarm in 6th grade and everyone was punished. They literally brought the cops in to question us until someone confessed. Most of us were in class when it happened. How many suspects could there have been? How many? All 3 teachers couldn't just be like, who was out of the classroom at that time? Who was in the class? Oh, they all must have done it. It's like, well, who did you see not doing it when it happened? Maybe let them go. So annoying. I just punished them all. So very sad that you feel the need to use this beautiful tribute to the well-deserving educators out there to post about the bad apples that unfortunately do exist in every profession. Next time, start your own thread. Oh, I shared it on the Jimmy Fallon Tonight thing. And of course, Mad Cucks to the rescue. So very sad that you, an anonymous coward, feel the need to simp for your teachers who are probably all dead and didn't do a good job. Next time, go. God, Mad Cucks. So very sad you abuse children. Well, that's not nice. Who's he saying that to? Is he saying that to the Lisa girl or is he saying that to Mad Cucks? Who are you saying that to? All right. At my Catholic high school, the head of religious education went on and on about not having, I just remembered this one, went on and on about not having sex before marriage, etc. And then had an affair with another teacher. She was engaged to another man at the time. A kid was trying to rap in my class while I was teaching. I called him Dr. Nay because you sure ain't Dr. Dre. The class laughed. He cussed me out and made fun of my shoes being from Walmart. Then I continued with the lesson. I don't deserve $1 billion. Oh, that's so even a teacher is admitting he doesn't deserve $1 billion. My teacher in 3rd grade started screaming in my face and dumping over my desk just because I couldn't find my math book. I had terrible organizational skills growing up. Found out later I had Asperger's syndrome. And then I wrote back. Who was that, by the way? Tommy Boppin' Okay. I wrote back. I wonder how many of the kids who misbehaved and generally struggled with stuff like that were just misdiagnosed or not diagnosed at all, and the teachers just screamed at them for dumb shit. It's probably true. I had a lot of kids who just wouldn't get simple things, and now I wonder if they were on the spectrum and the teachers were just screaming at them. I was once absent on the same day as the chorus teacher. Apparently the kids were bad for the sub, so everyone has to write "I will not misbehave" for the sub 200 times. I explained I wasn't even there, and she could look at the attendance for the whole day. Her response, so. And I wrote back, my homeroom teacher hated me in sophomore year. A teacher would yell at me so much, she straight up would yell at me when I was absent. She would get pissed when students pointed out I wasn't even there. That really happened. She yelled at me so much. And my friend called me and he's like, dude, you'll never believe it. She screamed at you again. And we were like, he wasn't even here. He's not even here. And she just flipped out on them. I had a teacher who would always skip me whenever penis inspection day came around. Turns out he was a transphobe and didn't think I was a real boy. I responded that there was a lot to unpack there. I'm not sure that's the most honest of stories. There's a lot. I need to know more about that story. Yeah, give my fourth teacher $1 billion for telling my mom that me being bullied for a birth defect was something I just had to ignore and stop being a victim like her nephew did. Okay. Even though I was ambushed by bullies in the bathroom and ridiculed every single day. Yeah, that's not like... I mean, if you have like a birth defect, that is something you have to like deal with, but... Because you might like get... But every day in the bathroom? Nah, someone should step in at that point. History teacher told us first week, no one needs a gun. Then taught us about the American Revolution, Jim Crow, and the Holocaust. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe if they all had a little bit more guns, things would have worked out better. I had a substitute teacher in second grade that wouldn't let me use the bathroom. So I made pup diarangus in my pants and all over my chair in front of the entire class. That's not good. There were no good guys in that story. Let me just say that right there. I think you're also a bad guy. You're just not as bad. Or worse, I had a third grade teacher that would punish me for being bullied. One day at dismissal, she had me stay behind where she screamed at me and slapped me because one of my bullies told her I said something I didn't. Joke's on her. She's on the run from the law last I knew for fraud. $1 billion. A teacher showed me clear favoritism, and then years after I had graduated, my brother had her, and not only did she, sorry if I read these poor, I had very many bad teachers. And not only did she compare him to me, after he had suffered a bout of seizures and had to miss school, he asked about his grade, and she told him, don't get a seizure next time. What? Because that's something you can control. High school history teacher that slept with a different female student every year up through graduation. I'm a male and didn't know about it until later. He somehow went to a different school district and then has come back to the district I graduated from without facing charges. Oh, what an asshole. Are you telling me Jimmy Fallon is pandering? I'm shocked. Okay, that wasn't a complaint about a teacher, but that was funny. My second grade teacher would dig her nails into your arms so hard that 5 little half moons of blood would appear. That's not... When did you go to school? Because teachers like stopped hitting kids like a few decades ago. Well, then again, they're not supposed to molest kids, and apparently they're doing that a lot. Similar story, a woman teacher had her husband leave her for another man. She hated all guys. She failed every male in the class. She had us turn our desks to the wall so she didn't have to see us. She went crazy. She's still there 20 years later. 10 years a hell of a drug. Does no other teacher step in and go, hey, Susie, whatever, you're a little like messed up. You should probably not be teaching. Teacher slept with a bunch of football seniors. If they were getting $1 billion to do that, I would... God damn. My gym teacher was also a gay porn star. Google Ty Fox if you're brave. Also at the same school, another gym teacher gave all girls B's because they weren't good at sports as boys who all got A's. Growing up in the 80s and 90s was no joke. Or was it? Gym teacher gave my older brother grief because of religion. Then gave me grief a few years later when I showed up. He died of multiple heart attacks. I won. At eighth grade, I had a teacher that mocked me because I needed glasses. I'll never forget her face. Can you even remember her face? Because you couldn't see her that well because you had glasses, nerd! 10th grade chem teacher was also the assistant principal. She said that 10% of the final grade was homework. I refused to do homework. She threatened to fail me even though I aced every test and had perfect attendance. In the end, I got a 90 out of 100 for the final grade. That's pretty smart. Teachers hate like people who are good at planning. Like this person clearly was like, hey, I'll just study all the tests and I won't miss any days. That's a 90 out of 10. I just don't have to do the homework. Forward thinking. Very smart. Punished for it. I took a photography class in high school. The teacher actually once, to my face, called me slow. I wanted to punch the mother you're so bad. Well, I mean, they'd probably dodge it because you're so slow. That's mean. No, that's still really mean. I have several. When I was a freshman in high school, I had returned back to school from a 6-month hiatus. I had major back surgery. I had to wear a heavy plastic back brace during my Algebra 2 class. The popular school punk stabbed my back brace with a pair of scissors. That's not good. It pierced through my brace and stabbed me. I had to get stitches. My algebra teacher said it was my fault because I was wearing a device that made me stand out to be bullied. What a horrible... What? Oh my God, our teachers are awful. Oh, they got multiple stories. When I was a senior in high school, I sat in front of a crazy bitch who always blamed people for stealing her money. Spoiler, she never had any. She would cry wolf, and the assistant principal would pull the thieves in his office. It was always girls. He would make us stand with our... Oh, God. Oh, no. Hands against the wall as he frisked us. No other adults were in the room. Eventually, the admin got privy to what he was doing, and he was arrested and fired. Turns out he was paying the students who lied about her money to turn us in so he could feel us and take pics. He took pictures too? Jesus. I once had a teacher try to get me expelled because I found out he was hitting on my friend, but it backfired because he didn't realize her dad was a cop. Had a teacher that turned out to be a pedophile. The whole school knew it, but the teachers were having none of it. Years later, it came out that he had been convicted in the early 90s, and it was a huge scandal. Wow, they really did their research. My brother's high school teacher had debate teams and assigned what position they needed to defend. She gave my brother pro-abortion. Turns out the teacher has published pro-life books. Yelled at him in class for defending it, fails him. Also, my brother is autistic and it made him cry. What an asshole. Like, $1 billion. Give that guy $1 billion, Jimmy Fallon. Got singled out and brainwashed by my year 6 teacher who claimed I was a bad influence for a series of small and irrelevant actions. I am now self-loathing and rarely take pleasure in anything I do anymore, except acting, because despite what she said about my skill, I excel. Well, T-Shire farce, I think you're a great influence. You influence me. How about that? Tell that to your teacher. Multiple teachers at my school ignored a boy who was stripped and sexually assaulted by other students in the locker room. By multiple, I mean more than 5. God, you know, because if one teacher looks bad, they all look bad. So, of course, I figured out at an early age I could get B grades doing almost nothing and would spend time reading books I liked. I used to get detention for reading. I would then read in detention and get sent home on suspension where I read. Well, you really wanted the end there. Again, forward-thinking, outside-of-the-box thinkers. Schools hate them. I had an art teacher who kicked me out of class because I asked if we could draw comics sometimes before class started. Me right, thinking art and comics were in the same wheelhouse. Her immediate reaction was, I can't deal with you today. Go sit in the hall. Teachers. My sister and I both got sent to the principal's office in kindergarten because our teacher thought we read too fast. Both times my mom showed up and yelled at them. Also, she wasn't my teacher, but an English teacher cheated on my favorite teacher with the coach. Oh my God. Me 8th grade teacher made a tier list of 8th grade girls he'd f***. He did this with the 8th grade boys. Think of all the 8th grade girls he could have if Jimmy Kimmel gave him $1 billion. Had a fat whale of a teacher named Miss Lavergarda, and she would always smack me in the head with thick textbooks. I told the school, but they never believed me. She would intentionally lower my grades because of that. This was the 3rd grade, mind you. I'm trying to a few of my students' moms. Pretty sure that's yeah, you're not getting $1 billion. I never had one good teacher throughout school. Not one. They were all incompetent bullies and pedophiles. I was very good at getting under their skin, though, and would even take them to the headmaster's office. They hated me. Huh. Jesus is crippled. My English teacher was a pedophile. Crippled Jesus is an actual disabled person. So she was an ableist pedophile. Wow. She's going to super hell. Tony, you're doing God's work. You're a huge asshole, but an asshole for God. Thank you. By the time this video goes up, there'll probably be more, so follow me on Twitter. Who knows if this video is going to get monetized? Probably not. Probably not, because I was just... The simple discussion of should teachers get paid $1 billion turned out to be mostly about pedophilia. God damn it. Oh, my God. Again, not all. But most are pretty bad. Anyway, guys... Thank you for watching this. Please, because this video is probably not going to get monetized, please continue to watch my other videos. Siphon Filter and Friends is ending soon at the time of this recording. Subscribe. If you want, I got a Patreon. I got to start doing more content on there. There's some bonus stuff on there already that you can check out. I have an OnlyFans now. If you want to see some sexy pictures and videos of me, check out my OnlyFans. Twitch. I've been streaming a lot more on Twitch, which I think you guys would like. And Teespring. Let's see the newest shirt. This is by Mint Salad. It's Mint Salad. This is the Twerk the Booty shirt. Boom, 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 boom. So you can get that Twerk the Booty shirt. Help support the channel. Help support me. And yeah, just watch all the other stuff I do. And that is it from me. Thank you for watching. Boom, 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 boom.